My name is Isaac Kilibwa, also known as Yitzchak Gate. I am a writer from Kenya, born and partly raised in Nairobi, in the 90s. People ask me what I mean by Yitzchak Gate. Yitzchak is the Jewish version of the name Isaac, and Gate is a translation for my name Kilibwa. Kilibwa in my mother tongue means gate. I am a writer and I'm also a Christian, a real Bible believer. My writing journey started in somewhere between 2016 and 2017. We used to have prompts on Facebook from this Indian group known as Kafia Milao. So they would post writing prompts, and then we would write our poetry from there. And remember the very first prompt that we were given was from Keki Daruwala's poem, where he says, and fear was a word with so many echoes, and then we were supposed to write from there. So from this Indian page, I got to get involved with another Indian page, a group known as Rhythm Divine Poets. And we were just writing poetry, simple poetry, tribe sometimes, and we were just exploring and getting to know what we could do with what we had, though what the product we had was raw still. So in 2007, I came across an African group, an African page known as Writer Space Africa. I experienced a lot of growth. Back then, the editor-in-chief of the magazine for Writer Space Africa was Wakine Kuria. May she rest in peace. But she really did give me a platform to express myself and to really grow as a writer. It was here that I was made poetry editor for the magazine, Writer Space Africa, and then the magazine had a sister magazine known as Poetica. So I also was made the editor-in-chief for Poetica magazine. I left Writer Space Africa shortly, where I ventured out to try and see what I could do out in the world. Writer Space Africa is a magazine by African Writers Development Trust, and this magazine has a sister magazine. It is no longer known as Poetica, it is known as Poetic Africa magazine now. So they have an academy, a sort of academy where they train writers, where writers write and critique each other's work. So it was here that I got to experience really what community is concerning writing. It was here that I found a community. And so as I ventured out in 2019, 2020, during the COVID-19 times, I got to submit my work to different places. I got to interact with people on Twitter mostly. I can say that my work really matured in 2023. Because it was in 2023 where I got nods. It was in 2023 where my work really got published in a lot of places, and places that I consider a privilege to be published at. I got published in Brittle Paper in their Festive Anthology, 2024 Festive Anthology. Really, 2023 Festive Anthology, and my poem, You Should See My Brother, was published also by Brittle Paper in 2024 December. I got published by the Hooghly Review from India in their anthology known as the Murals Anthology. I got published by Mukana Press in their anthology known as Old Loveskin Anthology. Hawakal Publishers from India also published my work in their Wives Anthology. These are basically poems. They're just poems that were published. Here 1, here 3, here 2, and It was a really amazing time. I got really to think of myself as a writer now, because for all my writing journey, all the time I have been pestered by this imposter syndrome. So life for many writers fluctuates between imposter syndrome and the knowledge that, yeah, I can do this, I'm a writer. Tomorrow you have imposter syndrome, maybe not so good. The next day, oh, I didn't know I was good, so maybe I'm a writer. I'm among a community of writers, so I'm a writer. So this really gave me an international platform, where I also got published by mystery publishers. And I'd love to really give my thanks to Yvonne Wamuyo of Mystery Publishers, who has published my work in 3 anthologies: Flash Fiction Anthology, the Poetry Anthology, known as Strange Waters, and the Creative Nonfiction Anthology, where I have a story, a creative nonfiction piece titled The Way I Am Yours, which is a tribute to my family. Other places where I've been published: Spelt Magazine, it is in the UK, Drake's Magazine, which is in Scotland. I've also been published in Coffee and Conversations, by Coffee and Conversations, from India, from Afghanistan, and by the Kalahari Review. I can say that I really appreciate the platform that I've been given by African journals and Kenyan spaces, where I've really got to be acknowledged and published, so that I can get the confidence to go further and try and be an international writer. Some of the places where my work has been acknowledged to be of merit: the Commonwealth Short Story Prize. In the year 2020, I got an email informing me that my story made the long list for the Commonwealth Short Story Prize. Of course, the long list is not published, but it was really encouraging to me that I could write short stories, because I've always known that all I can do is poetry. But now to know that I could write short stories, and then that's where I started to write short stories and try my hand at creative flash fiction and creative nonfiction. And so from then, in 2024, I got also longlisted for the Toyin Falola Short Story Prize for my story To Live Between Names. To Live Between Names is a phrase that I got from one of Romeo Oriogun's poems on poetry. And so I thought it was a really inspiring phrase, and so I wrote a story about it. Because Toyin Falola were having a short story competition where the theme for the short story competition was sacred. And so it really resonated with me. And so I've also won second prize for essay at the IHRAF, International Human Rights Arts Festival, which was organized by the International Human Rights Arts Movements in International Human Rights Art Movement in New York, USA. So this really was a life-changing moment where I won the prize, though it was second prize for this essay competition. And it was a story about police brutality and social injustice. It was called Bullets and the Sound of Cobblestones. And last but not least, in 2023, I also got to be the winner of the Kikwetu Journal's Flash Fiction Prize for my story called The Sack. The story is a humorous piece about a man who is proud. He lives so much in his head, and he's walking the streets of Nairobi, and he happens to meet a dead end, a sort of dead end, literally and figuratively, where he interacts with a man who is has been a street urchin. We can say a street boy, a street man, but it's a man, not a boy. And so it ends. Thank you very much. Once again, my name is Isaac Kilibwa, a writer from Kenya. Thank you.